Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Hey, great. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Debbie.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back. And Rosalinda as
Thank you.
well.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Morning,
Good
morning.
morning.
I love it. I'm going to give some people time to hop in here. And then I'll kind of give a rundown of how it's going to go today. It's going to be a kind of an exciting class. We have a guest speaker. And Debbie, so I basically on everything we talked about your Bluetooth kind of disconnecting, I'm pretty sure all the research I found kind of said what we were saying, that you were just getting in spots that it was just losing connection, just kind of bad service. I don't know. Did you continue to have those same type of issues after the meeting, or I don't know if.
I haven't used it walking outside yet, and
Okay.
it could be just for that. I think it's an FM radio station. It's just a radio station. So what I'm going to do is try it with a different station and see if the same thing happens, or
Good call.
yeah.
I like it. Little troubleshooting. Cool. And okay, great. And did you ever figure out the virtual background on Zoom? I think I was supposed to send you an email, but I never got.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's updated. Everything's updated. So I think it's because it's an older iPad
Okay.
that it probably can't process that particular thing.
Gotcha. Okay. So I have that on my to-do list. I will definitely see what I can find about that. So, and everyone else, just so you know what's happening. Debbie, for some reason on her iPad, when you go to the video settings, the choose virtual background, it's just not an option for her. I checked on my iPad, on my iPad, and it is an option for me. And we're just thinking maybe her iPad's like an older version and just doesn't have the option to do it. But I'm going to figure it out. So do you know, yeah, absolutely. Do you know, so your iPad, do you know how old it is by chance, or what?
Probably about 8 years ago.
Okay.
It's an Air.
iPod
It's
Air?
yeah. And it's
Okay,
probably about 8-9 years ago.
Gotcha. iPod Air, that helps. I don't think I asked that question last time. Okay.
Windows 7 won't do it either.
The 7 won't do it either?
My Windows 7 won't do it either, but the
Okay.
10 does it.
But the 10 does it. Okay. So Elaine said that her Windows 7 doesn't give her the virtual background option either, but her Windows 10 does. Okay, great. So again, we have a guest speaker today. So it's going to be, this class is going to go just slightly different, only for that reason. But let me go ahead and bring him in and introduce you guys. His name is Joe, and he is in the meeting right now. And what we can do is we can kind of all let Joe know where we are, just because it's kind of fun to hear that. And I'll start. I'm Kevin here in Denver, Colorado. Joe already knows that, but for anyone else that might have forgot, and I think I see a new member in here as well. Christine, feel free to keep yourself muted if you want, but just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the host of this group. And I'm from Denver, Colorado. So anyone else that wants to chime in, we can just kind of do our rounds and kind of go from there.
Hi, Joe. I'm Elaine Berkey. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I just got a Windows 10 laptop and find it very confusing compared to Windows 7, but I love all this stuff.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Good morning.
Great. Thanks, Elaine. Anyone else?
I'm Barb Rice, and I'm from Arizona, outside Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm Rose,
Debbie.
and I'm Seattle. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Morning.
And I'm Debbie, and I'm from Los Angeles, California.
It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Same here, Joe.
Fantastic. And Joe, if you just want to go ahead and hop in and introduce yourself, let us know what you do for Element 3 Health, and I'll kind of let you take it from here, my friend.
Sure. Thank you, Kevin. So my name is Joe Searcy. I'm the Chief Security Officer and HIPAA Security Officer for Element 3. I've been with the company for about a year now and absolutely love it. So today I'd love to chat with you all about online safety and how to protect yourself as well as protect your loved ones. So, and feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions. I'm happy to pause and answer any of your questions that you may have. So again, thank you for your time and happy Friday, everyone.
Yes.
Finally, the week is in.
Yeah.
You know, everything is connected to the internet these days. It's crazy, you know, phones, computers, we have appliances, even cars are connected to the computer, and everything that's connected to the internet is posing a risk that it could be compromised. So we have to be extra vigilant, extra cautious of what we do and what we say and how and where we go and all the time. And unfortunately, because there's a lot of bad actors out there that want to impose harm on us. So I wanted to go through just a few bullet points of how to protect yourself and also your loved ones on the internet. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to interrupt me, and I'm happy to address those as we go through. So the first one, I know that even Kevin and some of the folks that at Element 3, we all don't like passwords because they're so long and they're a pain to remember. And so I wanted to talk about password complexity and making sure that we don't use the same password for multiple things, especially you know, accounts that are critical, like your banking accounts or any type of investments. We want to make sure that those passwords are at least 14 characters. I know that's a lot, but it's very important that we have passwords that are at least 14 characters long, and especially for banking accounts and critical accounts such as health records or accounts that access health records. So one thing that, go ahead.
Why is the number 14 for the password? Is it harder? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so great question, great question. So 14 characters, anything beyond 14 characters, it makes it extremely difficult for the hacker or the bad actor to guess what that password is. If you have a password that's 8 characters and just numbers and letters, the bad actor has the technology these days to actually take that password and find it out within 3 to 4 minutes. It's crazy. So that's why, you know, the longer the password it is, and then there's also some complexity to it. So we don't want to just pick some random dictionary word. We want to have some kind of numbers in there or special characters like the @ symbol or the pound sign in there as well. So when it becomes more complex like that and having to link the password, it makes it extremely difficult for the bad actor to guess your password. It's called brute force password guessing. So that's why it's important that you have 14 characters or more. And I know that it's difficult to remember your passwords because you have a password practically for everything out there. So one thing that I have instituted in Element 3 to help our employees, our teammates, is to come up with a passphrase instead of a password. The passphrase is just think of it like a sentence. So obviously we want to try to keep at least 14 characters or more. So having a passphrase, for example, my dog Fluffy is cool. So then you can take some of the characters in there, like the let's see, my dog Fluffy is cool. So you can take the 2 O's and make them zeros, and you can put a like say an exclamation point at the very end. So my dog, it's 5, Fluffy. So that's what? That's 16, 17 characters total. So it's easy to remember. So you know that my dog Fluffy is cool. is a strong password at one, but also easy to remember. There's also another thing that we can do to help remember our passwords, and that's utilizing a password vault. And I recommend, it's very easy to use, a service which actually is free to anyone who wants to sign up. It's called LastPass. That's LASSPA, or I'm sorry, LASTPASS, LastPass.
Oh.
And you can sign up on LastPass for free. And maybe later on down the road, we can do a tutorial on LastPass, and it's a password manager. So you would keep all your passwords in this password. It's completely secure. So when you do log into Amazon or Facebook or your financial institution, you can use LastPass to populate the password field for you automatically, or provide you with the password right there as you can type it in. I know does anybody have any questions? Let me stop there if anybody have any questions at this moment.
I do, Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin, Joe, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I know who you're talking to.
You know, like sometimes when they ask for a password or like a username and say, remember me, is that secured?
Great.
Because like
great
when you
question.
create a password and say, remember me.
Right, great question. So that's a, so when you do input your password or say your username, like you said, into a password field, we'll just use Amazon, for example. There usually is in your browser an option, it'll detect saying, hey, would you like to save your credentials, meaning your username and password in there for a later date. They put that in there for convenience, but unfortunately it's not extremely secure.
Oh.
So when it does prompt you to put, when it does prompt you to say, hey, would you like to save this username and password? It's not the best, the best thing to do from a security standpoint. I always click no, or I disable that feature in the browser, whatever browser you use. I strictly use my LastPass, my password vault. And there's a couple different companies out there. There's Dashlane, there's LastPass, there's a couple other providers out there, password vaults. But great question, yes. I recommend do not save your passwords in your browser, because if a bad actor were to get onto your computer, that's probably one of the places that they're probably going to go to try to take those take those credentials from you, and it's not entirely secure. So great question. Thank you for bringing that up.
I was gonna
go ahead.
say that I don't save any of those passwords that have anything to do with if my credit card's attached to that account or it's financials or Amazon or whatever. I just do the save thing on like Who's, the housing look at things and sites that don't have my credit card attached to it, or just a non that.
Right. So what you're saying is that you save your credentials for non-important or non-critical, say like
anything that doesn't have my credit card attached to or something financial, whatever,
right, or personal
then I just go ahead to it doesn't matter to me. If you want to hack that one, I don't care.
Sure. Yeah, and that's that you bring a good point. There are less important or less critical sites out there that you can do that for. It's really good security hygiene. I like using the word or the phrase security hygiene, just because we brush our teeth every day to maintain good health or good oral hygiene. Same goes for protecting ourselves online and protecting ourselves on the computer, is that we want to have good security hygiene. And one of those things is to make sure that we keep our credentials secure, preferably in a password vault, because we have so many credentials out there, so many usernames and passwords to remember. I like to bring up another, yep, go ahead.
What's to prevent hacking into a vault, a password vault? That's why I've never used one, because if people can hack into almost anything, what's to prevent my entire password life being hacked?
Right. Great question. There's various different security protocols that are being used to protect your data. And one of the things that we can talk about at a later time, if we're able to, is utilizing a thing called two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. And that is just another layer of security that we can put on our password vault in other accounts like bank accounts and whatnot. So I'll give you an example. There's a fair amount of you probably utilize banking online, right? Your financial institutions may require you to use a multi-factor authentication where they send you a text message with a number on your phone just to validate that you are who you are. That is okay. It's not the best secure way, but it's better than nothing. So when you access your password vault, I highly recommend that you enable two-factor authentication. I know I'm going down a rabbit hole that may get down deep here, but multi-factor authentication allows the service that you're using to make sure that you are you and nobody else. So I'll give you an example. When you log into, say, a financial institution or say to LastPass, you're going to put in your username. You're going to put in your nice long 14-character password, because that's the password that you remember all the time to access all your passwords. So it should be fresh in your memory. And then once it authenticates your that password, it's going to say, okay, now I need your now we're going to send you a push to your phone, or it's going to send you a code to your phone, and you punch in that.
Kind of looks like that.
Yeah, there you go. Great example, Kevin. So you go to and you put that 6-digit code in there, and that's telling the company that you are you. So if there's a bad actor out there, and to answer your question, Debbie, if there's a bad actor out there that may have your password to your password vault, they're not going to be able to get in, because they would need to know, or they would need to have your phone to access that data.
Okay, question then. Somebody steals my phone, sees all my emails and things, and what things my bank is, and able to crack, and then able to get the authentication, and then.
Right. You bring up a valid point. Now, hopefully we don't lose our phones all too much, but in the event
but it happens with phones.
Right. I mean, we could leave it on the bus, or we could leave it at the store in the cart. Trust me, I've been there. We all bring it. So if in the event that happens, there's a way to, I guess you have to create kind of a checklist of what you need to do. Obviously, you need to start calling your phone company to disable your phone. I would try to log into LastPass, and there's also I would keep a what they call a backup code, and you can keep it in your safe or in a safe place. So you'd have that backup code to get into your LastPass to quickly go ahead and change your password if you feel that it's compromised. So there's a little bit of legwork that you need to do, but there are protocols that you can follow to make sure that in the event that you do lose a mobile device that has access to critical information like your password vault, that there's ways to mitigate or reduce the chances of a bad actor getting access to that.
Joe,
Yes, ma'am.
directory, alphabetical. It never leaves the house.
Right?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's
That's
no
what I do
password
too.
written in there, right?
Do you? Mhm. I don't trust those vaults either.
Neither do
Bank of
I
America.
don't.
I know. Some of us are old school. Trust me, I'm old school. It took me a while to get on the bandwagon, to get onto using a password vault. They've come a long way in securing your information. I mean, to the point to where If in fact I do lose my phone, or say, for example, I'm traveling overseas, I have a copy of my passport, my license, all my credit card information in that password vault, because you can save it, those pictures or the information in there, not only just passwords, but also pictures of information that's important to you. So in the event that I do lose my wallet or my passport, I can bring it up on my phone and say, hey, you know, this is me. But yes, I know it could be frustrating or scary to make that step into utilizing a password. But trust me, they're safe. We use it. I use it personally. We use it within Element 3. It's a very, you know, that with multi-factor authentication, it's a very secure way to secure important information.
Yeah, and
Anybody
we
else have
do.
any questions?
I was
What's
just
that?
going to chime in and say that we do, like at Element 3 Health, I can confirm with Joe that we do the multi-factor authentication with pretty much anything that we need to log into. We deal with a lot of, you know, personal information from customers and things like that. So we want to make sure that no one outside of Element 3 Health can access any of our services that we use or accounts that we use. And it's really, you know, once you kind of start doing it, it's really easy. You just have this application that you download on your phone, and then you type in the password, and kind of like Joe's saying, if someone's on my computer typing in the password, they would have to have my phone too in order to get past that little hurdle right there. So now, to your point, Debbie, if someone somehow got a hold of my computer and my phone, then I might be in trouble, but it would have to be that scenario for them to get in. So it's essentially only I can get in because only I can receive the 6-digit code. And that, what I pulled up here, that's kind of what it looks like. And it'll expire after a few seconds too. So if you're not quick enough, boom, it expires and it gives you a new code. So it like really makes sure that you're the one that has the phone, it's your computer. And yeah, I kind of at the beginning, I'm the same way. I'm old school. I was like, I don't want to have to do this every time, but it's really simple. You just, as long as you have your phone with you, it doesn't really add too many extra steps.
And
I
to
guess I should
piggyback off
password
of
protect my phone now too. I haven't done that. I probably should be doing that.
Yeah, mine's my Face ID. So if it's not my face, no one can even open my phone. So
Probably should do that too.
So to piggyback off of Kevin, yeah, we here at Element 3, we take security very seriously, especially when we deal with personal identifiable information, PII, as well as, you know, PHI, you know, health. We deal with healthcare data as well. And having multi-factor authentication, actually, it doesn't eliminate all the risk, but it is one big major factor of protecting our data. It's, you know, increases our security by like 95%. So we use MFA or 2FA. You'll hear either two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. It means the same thing. We use it on everything in our environment.
Yeah.
So it's very, very secure way of accessing our resources.
Yeah, that's why I have 3 different options, because those are for 3 different applications that I get into.
And one thing to add to the multi-factor authentication, a lot of the, like for example, if you do decide to use a password vault like LastPass, LastPass does have an authenticator app, just like similar to what Kevin showed. Here, I'll show you mine real quick. They have an option called a push. So you don't have to type in that 6-digit password. So once you punch in your username and password into, you know, say you're logging in LastPass, it will then come up on your phone saying, do you want to approve this? And a big, you know, green check mark is on there, and you just hit click, you know, just click it, and then you're in. You don't have to punch in a 6-digit password. So mine is kind of similar, you know, he uses Google Authenticator. I have, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. So
Yeah.
But I recommend Google Authenticator because it's free, it's easy to use, especially and as well as the LastPass Authenticator. It's free. So, any other questions regarding password vaults? We
My
had some
bank
great
has it
questions.
where you put your own secret question in, like I have, who was the best man at my wedding? Nobody's going to know that unless they really know me. It's sort of
Right.
very intimate questions that no one else would know. I like that part.
Yeah, there are, you bring a good point. I don't know if LastPass has what they call security questions. Say, for example, when you forget your password, you need to reset your password. Some platforms out there will ask you 3 different questions that you should only know about. So those are good. They tend to have what they call canned response, like who is your favorite dog, or what was your maiden name, or what city were you born in? A
Don't
lot
tell
of
them
that
that.
info. What's that?
Don't tell them your maiden name or what city, because they can look that up.
Exactly, and that's my point I was making, is that a bad actor out there, a hacker, can easily find that information online because there's just such a plethora of our data out there. So my recommendation is don't use those canned response. Use something like I would use. Who was your best friend growing up? They're probably not going to know that. Or what model vehicle did you have your first car, or something like that. I don't know. But don't
Or
make
who is the best man at your wedding?
or who's the best man at your wedding. Correct. Exactly. So, but not like, what's the name of your pet? They can easily find out who, that your favorite pet is Fluffy off of social media, and easily potentially, compromise an account. So, but yes, good question.
Your turn.
So anything else on password vaults? It sounds like there might be an opportunity to go down that rabbit hole further and maybe do some kind of tutorial on how to set up maybe a password vault and secure your data online through LastPass.
Yeah, Joe, if we could steal you again, that would be a good topic.
I'll give you a good discount on my rate.
No, I think that would be great. Like for
Mhm.
maybe even next class, we could, or I don't know if you're available Monday, but we can,
Sure.
Joe, we can talk about that, Joe. But I think that would be excellent if we covered that in a class and actually like went over how to do it and
Sure.
and all of that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely we can do that.
cool.
So another thing here, let's see, we're about halfway through. I want to leave a little bit of time at the end to go over and ask any type of security questions or any concerns that anyone may have. I think that maybe the next thing we talk about is making sure to keep your software up to date. A lot of bad actors out there, if they gain access to your computer, may it be a mobile device or a Mac or a Windows laptop or desktop, they're going to look for what they call vulnerabilities in your software. And it's very important to make sure that if you do own a Mac, that you update your Mac software as well as Windows, that you see updates come through, that you either manually update your machine, or you can set it to automatic so you have one less thing to worry about. So it's extremely important to update your software on your computer, because we don't want those bad actors to exploit you or exploit your computer to gain access to something that is of value to them, or of value to them, like your personal identification information, your credit card, your healthcare information. I mean, we have so much important, sensitive information on your computers these days. So it's important to not back up, but to update your computers. Any questions on that? All right. So we'll talk about a reputable antivirus software. Now, remind me who just got the Windows 10 computer. Was it Elaine?
Elaine.
Elaine, okay. So Elaine, you have Windows 10. I know it's a bit confusing going from from Windows 7 to 10. Trust me, I know. It frustrated me to no end because they changed everything in the, anyway, I digress. So Windows machines come with an automatic antivirus system or program in there called Defender. But it's not the greatest. I mean, it's better than nothing. So I recommend doing a third-party antivirus or anti-malware software, and that could be a Norton, it can be a Bitdefender, it could be a McAfee. There's a whole bunch of different products out there. My personal favorite is Bitdefender. It tends to do a full circle of protecting your computer. It's not only just, you have viruses out there, but you have worms, you have phishing attacks, you have various different, or it also has a vulnerability scanner, which to back to my my point of keeping your software up to date, the vulnerability scanner detects to see if there's a software on your computer that may be out of date, that might have some bugs in it that potentially could allow a bad actor to access your computer through that vulnerability. So keep a good antivirus or purchase a good antivirus software for your computers. And it's not just your computers, but also your mobile devices. And that's what I like about Bitdefender. And I'm sure Norton has a product for mobile devices as well. Because
Is
remember,
Bitdefender you purchase at like Best Buy or something, or do you do that online, or how do you?
Either way. I mean, I think a lot of computer users are probably purchasing more online. You can purchase them through Amazon and get a key,
Through Amazon.
or you can actually have the software sent to you and load on your computer. I think as technology is advanced and we have faster internet to our houses, it's just as easy just to purchase the software online and download that software onto your computer or mobile device. But you're very well, you are welcome to go to a box store like Best Buy or a Walmart, and purchase an antivirus. And just FYI, they go by subscription. So they usually sell it yearly. Sometimes you can buy it, in 2-year increments or 3-year increments. You usually save money that way. But just know that your antivirus software will expire 365 days from the time that you activate it, if you purchase the 1 year.
I have AVG.
AVG, okay, AVG is one of the free antivirus.
Mhm.
And just be cautious about the free antivirus softwares out there. AVG is okay. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Okay.
You usually get better protection with the paid services or the paid antivirus software out there, like the Nortons and the McAfees and the Bitdefenders, because they, like I said, they protect you full circle from phishing attacks and malware attacks, these other various different attacks out there. They protect your data. My freebies, better than nothing.
Thanks.
Do any of those
Yeah, go ahead.
programs, when that comes up, we were talking about this last week or something, where it locks your computer and, call immediately to get this fixed, to get that screen. Do any of them stop that? I know mine doesn't, because I get those.
Yes and no. The majority of the higher end anti-malware software out there does help protect against ransomware. You're probably seeing a lot of those through maybe emails or what they call drive-bys, so on the internet. So if you were to go to a website that may not be secure, or they have a link that goes to a website that may not be secure, you might see a pop-up come in there and try to phish you or lure you into saying, oh, your computer is compromised, it has malware on it, please click here. Whatever you do, don't ever click on those pop-ups. Or if you do get an email saying your computer is maybe compromised, don't ever click any of the links in an email or open an attachment, because the bad actors put malicious software in those attachments in your email. And they also, if you have a link, that link can bring you to a malicious website where your computer could automatically download that virus and infect your computer. And basically, it's, I mean, if you don't have a good antivirus software, and let me caveat that, because even the best anti-malware or antivirus software out there can't catch everything. Because if there's something that the bad actor has created and it's new, and in the antivirus or anti-malware software out there has not seen it before, it potentially could sneak by. So that's why we need to make sure that we're being cognizant and vigilant about what we're clicking on, both in email as well as surfing the web with links. So any questions on anti-malware software, antivirus software?
Yeah, I have another one too. Now I get McAfee from my internet provider.
Okay.
Free. Is that the same as if I had bought it, or would you know that? I mean,
Yes, yeah, the free McAfee that comes with your internet service provider, even though it's free, it's at the same level as if you were to purchase it. Usually it's at the same level as if you were to purchase it. So
I assumed it was, but I didn't know.
I'm sorry?
I said I assumed it was, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, usually it is. That's just one of the perks that some internet service providers do provide out there, is the free anti-malware protection for all your devices in your home. So yeah, take advantage of that, absolutely. Because the average anti-malware or antivirus, and I say anti-malware because that's really, it's covering full spectrum, whereas it doesn't just protect viruses. There's a lot of different malware out there. So the anti-malware that you're getting, it could be roughly anywhere from a $40 to an $80 value per year subscription. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that. Anybody else have any questions about anti-malware? All right, well, I'm going to go over one more topic that I think is very important, very near and dear to me. And then I'll open it up to any questions that you may have for me. And that's protecting yourself on social media. I think a vast majority of us all utilize some form of social media, maybe Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever out there. It's extremely important that we don't disclose a lot of our personal information. The reason for that is that if we have a bad actor that's doing some reconnaissance and may want to try to access important or sensitive information that you may have, they're going to go and find you on Facebook or Twitter or some social media to find out who this person is and see if they can gather additional information to potentially compromise you. So it's very important to not disclose a lot of detailed information about your life. I know it's very hard, and we love so much to share our lives with our families and friends through social media. Just be aware and be vigilant of what you put on there. And I'll give you an example. And this actually happened to one of my grandparents' friends back in the day, and it still happens today, is that they posted on Facebook that they were going out of town on a trip, I think to the Caribbean on a cruise ship. And they were going to be gone for a week or two. Well, a bad actor was online and saw that, and they suspect that because they posted it on there, their house was burglarized because they stated that they were going on a trip. So it's very important to make sure that you choose what you share on social media, because you don't want something like that to happen to you or your loved ones. So the point is, keep your personal information secure. Be very vigilant and cognizant about releasing your personal information. So if someone is asking for a credit card or a social security number or a Medicare or Medicaid number, make sure that that person for one, and the person is supposed to be taking that information from you. Don't just give it out, willy-nilly, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Debbie.
I only really use on occasion Facebook, and pretty careful about what I post. But it doesn't mean that if I'm on a trip with a family member, they're posting pictures, and of course, then all of a sudden my Facebook, group is kind of seeing that. And I've asked my family, do not do that, because I don't want people to know I'm out traveling.
Right.
Is there a mechanism on Facebook that you can temporarily disable what goes in and what goes out for a period of time and then activate again?
So great question. I'm not a resident expert on Facebook. However, a lot of social media has what they call privacy settings, and
Right.
you'll have to just peruse through those privacy settings to see. You can allow a certain. You can allow your close family or your close friends access to your Facebook, but you can also disable anybody who's not maybe a friend or a family to have access to that. So, but you can't completely, unfortunately, you can't completely block something like that, or even block it either permanently or temporarily. It's more of a, you can adjust those privacy settings, but also it's a collaborative effort on your part to talk with your family members to make sure that, that their privacy settings are set correctly to where they're not disclosing that information out.
Yeah, well, that's kind of hard to do when you're traveling with some
Yeah.
family members, and they're it snowballs. So
Right.
yeah, I
Right.
think sometimes that should be a feature where you can disable your whole account just temporarily while you're in a hospital or you're traveling, and then that way,
Right.
and you can activate when you're ready to activate again.
But disabling your account, unfortunately, won't. I mean, they're still posting on their accounts, so it's still getting out. So, I mean, you very well could, temporarily suspend your account, but I don't think that would really help all too much. It's really, working with your family and friends to say, hey, can you not post, sensitive information out there? I have to do it often with my family, saying, please don't put that type of information out there, because, it could be used against me in a malicious manner. But
Right.
yeah, it's hard to control privacy settings when they're outside of your account.
Another social media that we don't think of, our local newspaper has the obituaries in the paper. It says
Right.
when you're at the funeral home, how long you'll be gone. Actually, my aunt had her house broken into the very day of my uncle's funeral.
Oh, that's
And
terrible.
the police told the whole family, they can't stop that. Anybody can do that. So
Right.
what we do is have somebody stay in your home that isn't related, maybe, or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they see someone in the house, hopefully they won't break in.
Yes.
Right.
Well, these days with COVID, there isn't much you're virtually going to funerals as opposed to physically, unfortunately.
Well,
Yeah, Elaine, it's unfortunate that that does happen, and bad actors not only utilize technology, but they utilize old school and do their reconnaissance through the newspaper, and unfortunately commit crimes such as that.
I can give one story that I have from personal experience that maybe I can just share. I had my uncle one time sent me a message on Facebook and said that he was in Italy and that he lost his wallet and he needed me to wire him some money. And I thought that was weird. It's an uncle I don't really talk to. So I called him immediately. So this is just my kind of advice is if you get a message like that, make sure you contact the actual person. And I said, hey, are you in Italy and you need money? He said, what? Someone had got into his Facebook, and I don't know how they knew I was related to him. Maybe they just picked a random person to message. So like stuff like that goes on too. And that's, you just basically, I mean, I think we all are pretty well aware not to just wire somebody money without asking questions. But yeah, I thought that was really crazy. I called him immediately and he was like, nope, that's not me. And he had to change his Facebook password and all of that. So just things like that. We just gotta be really careful.
Yeah, that happened to my mom.
Did it?
She got oh yes, she about maybe maybe about 10 years ago, she got a phone call saying that her grandson, who did some foreign travel, was wherever and got was arrested, and he got in a fight and a hit in the nose, so that's why he was muzzled. And my mom was like, okay, I'll go to the bank, the bank, and and it was like maybe 20-30 minutes getting dressed, doing all that, and then she said, you know what, I'll call me, and instead of my sister, because she's the mother of the grandson. And I said, what? I said, I don't think Brian's traveling right now. And she says, well, I'm supposed to. I said, Mom, hold off a second, let me make a couple phone calls and and because she was ready. I mean, she
Yeah.
was absolutely dressed and out the door, trying to help her grandson. And of course it wasn't true. And so now she is like, okay. And
Yeah.
she's not on the internet. Okay. She does not have internet. She got a phone call with the grandson phone call. So yeah.
Happens with calls too. And yeah, it sometimes, and of course she, in her head, she just wanted to help. So she's like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
want to help him out. He's in a tough spot. So yeah, it's definitely a shame that there's people out there doing that, but it's a real thing. So just basically we all have to be really careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had
to
one of
add
those
to-
similar not too long ago. I answered the phone and it said, hi, Grandma, this is your grandson. And I thought, sure. And I said, oh, which one?
Yeah, which one?
Click,
Yeah.
One thing to add is that a lot of these scammers and bad actors out there, they use a sense of urgency. It's always a sense of urgency. So it's really thrown us off on a loop, just saying, oh my goodness, I need to act quick. It's just like, if a building's on fire, you need to get out. So they distract you with this urgency. So one thing to know that when you see an email come across, or even a phone call where there's phishing in email, and the phone call is called vishing, voice phishing. You probably heard of the IRS scams that are going on years now. There's always a sense of urgency. So I implore everyone that if they ever get a phishing or vishing or any type of scenario where someone's trying to contact you and something is just not right, to just pause and wait, just think a second, is this true? Maybe I need to validate, to the point, you want to call, you call your sister or call somebody to validate that says, to make sure that this is really truly happening. Yep. And that will most likely 9 times out of 10 show that this is a scam.
I had one of those calls yesterday, the day before, and today. And we listened to the voice very carefully. It is the same woman's voice on Social Security. We're going to arrest you. Today it was, they went into our bank account. It's the same voice. It's the same woman.
Wow.
It's usually the same outfits out there, and unfortunately, it's usually in third world countries. It's not,
Right.
Just a high school sitting in a basement trying to scam people. It's really these third world countries they have these call centers of all these folks out there just calling random people, and this is how they make money, and they make millions of dollars on people who are not who don't realize that they're being scammed. So it's extremely important to be, cognizant. I use the word cognizant and vigilant, and making sure that we validate, hey, is this really true? And it's very frustrating. I know that you keep getting the phone calls like that. One thing that I can recommend is there's a national do not call registry that
We did that one.
Doesn't work.
It
I
doesn't
know.
do anything.
So it's the bad actor out there. They're going to say, "Oh, wait a minute, this phone number's not do not call it. I probably shouldn't call them." Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But when they want you to send a gift card to the Social Security,
Yeah.
that's the biggest tip off.
That's a red
Right.
flag. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a
not
Social
just-
Security one, and I don't get Social Security. So I'm going, okay.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to sit back and just say, okay, is this, does 2 and 2 add up here?
Yeah.
But, one thing is that it's not just a sense of urgency that they may impose. It's a sense of fear, just like, for example, you said, Elaine, that your bank accounts or, you're going to be going to jail for these IRS scams. They're using urgency and fear to really throw you off and say, oh my goodness, I probably should do this.
Yeah.
Well, I think it like I said, you just gotta have to take a step back and say, wait a minute, is this really legit? And it's when you get those calls, it's best to call your local law enforcement and say, hey, I just got this phone call. This is the number it came from. And if it does come to your mobile number or sometimes a landline, you can do it too. You can block that phone number. That sometimes helps, but that they're just going to call you from another number. But it's just one more layer that you can do to protect yourself.
So is there a number that you report this one just to the local police or
Yes,
there's,
so there's a couple different ways that you can report scammers like that, both online and over the phone. Online, I can't remember what's I can put it in an email, and Kevin can provide that to you.
Perfect.
oh, okay.
The easiest thing is to just call your local law enforcement or your sheriff and just report it, saying, hey, I had this scammer called me. When they do come over the phone, it's usually the FCC that get involved, the Federal Communications Commission. You can report these online if you don't feel comfortable calling your local law enforcement, or you feel that you might be burdening them even though you're not. You can report it online, and I can provide a couple links to Kevin to pass out to all of you if you do come across that. But it's best to report it because there may be a good handful of us that are getting those scams, and that might be enough for the FBI or whatever agency that may be in that jurisdiction to conduct an investigation and find these people who are doing it or who are doing it. So
Yes.
it only takes a minute or two of your time. I'm not saying that it's required, but it's just best to, if we all started doing that, it would really cut down on some of the crime
Good.
online as well as on the phone.
Become
So that's it for
detectives.
me. I just want to open up, and Kevin, if we have some extra time, just open up to whatever, if you have any questions about security or any concerns.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was
Floor.
going to do the same. I was going to open it up to anyone. We got about 5 minutes left. So anything else you guys want to discuss or any questions for Joe, then yeah, just go ahead and shoot.
We're questioned out.
Was it that informative? Are your brains full? Because there's going to be a quiz at the end of the
I just found out this week about no more robocall.
robocalls.
Nomo Robo.
Nomo Robo?
Oh,
Yeah,
Mhm.
my internet provider, because they are also my phone provider, got me on this. After I had 11 IDs, different phone numbers, same message, same person with the message, same message. And
mhm.
it was, I think it was, your account's been charged $399 for virus protection or something, press 1 if you don't want this. And, of course, I never answered the phone. Those were all
Mhm.
messages that I got. But there was a point, they were calling me every 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
So
Mhm.
one thing that I
Yeah,
can
I got
recommend.
the same thing.
But anyway, so in the process, I called to see what I could do. And they actually pay for this. It's it's like a third party company, but they have the numbers of a lot of the robocallers. And what happens is that if it calls here, it rings once and that's it. Then they block it.
Oh,
Right. You make a good point, Barbara, that a lot of service providers, telecommunication service providers, like for example, I think you go through your ISP, your internet service provider,
Yeah.
Comcast or Cox or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's Cox. Yeah.
So one thing you can do, and that I recommend, is contact whoever your telecommunications company is, either landline or or your cell phone, and tell them you want to be added, or the service to, there's a service on there to block scam calls or solicitation calls. Some companies do it automatically for you, but sometimes you just have to call them and say, hey, I want to be added on, I want my phone line or lines to be added onto this do not call list or technology that filters those type of phone calls. And you'd be surprised how much it helped. It doesn't weed out everything, because the bad actors out there, they always try to find a way, but it helps a little bit, and it will reduce your frustration. Let's just tell you that.
Definitely.
I'll tell you that.
It has made a difference. I can tell. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not getting near the calls, and I can report when I do get one. I can report it then, and they put that on their list.
Right. Yeah, it's
You can-
definitely,
you
because
can
the last
do
thing you
that
want
on
to do
your
is
cell
have dinner
phone.
and have someone call and say, hey, is your refrigerator running? You better go catch it.
That's
You know what
classic.
I've noticed on Element 3? Yesterday and the day before, they have I am not a robot, and it used to be a word, not a word, but letters and numbers. Now it's in color and it moves, and you got to look quick.
That's
Hey
called a
guys,
captcha.
I have another class, so I have to leave. So
Okay.
thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kevin.
It's my
Thanks,
pleasure.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a great,
Rosalinda.
have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
See
Joe,
ya.
what was that called?
I'm sorry, say again?
What was that called?
Oh, it's called a CAPTCHA. So it's basically just validating that you are a human, because there's a lot of computers out there that try to put data into fields or forms automatically for you to try to scam. And that's just one way to validate that you are a human. So you'll see like, please click on the signal or the crosswalk or whatever, or you have to move your a thing to match up with a puzzle piece or something. But yes, that's just to validate that you're a human.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, they're getting creative. It's a small form of entertainment, I guess.
Oh,
Great.
this has
So
been great.
this has been great. And I know that with a lot of my classes, I haven't been posting the recordings, but I think I'm going to post this recording, because I think anyone else that missed this, there's a lot of useful information that they could find by watching the recording of this. So I'm going to make sure that goes under our featured events, recorded videos. It'll just be like our on-demand videos that you can find on our website. I'll make sure this one goes on there, because I think that this could be useful for anyone that missed.
Yeah, right. That'd be great.
Definitely. Cool. Well, Joe, thank you so much. And by the way, Barbara and Elaine, Joe said that he granted he has time, he's willing to do this some more, come to some more classes, so we can maybe cover the LastPass and multi-factor authentication. We can actually like go through the steps and things like that in the future. But just to let you know, we're gonna steal his time some more. So
Sure. Yeah, we might be able to schedule something next week. Well,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you offline, Kevin, to see if something we can schedule it out and post it on the website and see who wants to join us.
love it. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. You have my email, so if you have any questions for me from now till Monday's class, just reach out and I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a
You
good weekend.
too.
Take care.
Thanks. See ya.
Okay.